Hey everyone, it's Leon here from CryptoSquare and welcome to CryptoSquare Reviews. And today we're going to review Traceto.io. Traceto.io is a decentralized Know Your Customer network. And today I have here with me Vanessa.
Hello.
So what is KYC, right, before we begin? So KYC, if you boil it down to the simplest form, it's four things. One, it's who are you? Who are you not? Are you still who you say you are? And what did you do? So, who are you, right? It's about whether, let's say your name is Leon, right? Whether you can prove yourself to be Leon. So what you do is you submit documents of your identity, like your passport. So who are you not? You're going to make sure that you are not under the list of sanctioned persons, like politically exposed persons to corruption, money launderers, tax evaders, terrorists, right? So are you still who you say you are? Basically, what it means is, if I say that I'm not a terrorist today, 5 years down the road, can the person still be sure that I'm not a terrorist? Right? So constant monitoring of a person's identity and what he's doing. And the last thing is, what did you do? So it's about how you raised your funds, right? Did you raise it through fraudulent means or dubious means?
So what is Traceto.io? This is essentially a decentralized KYC network that provides an inclusive KYC solution to cryptocurrency and blockchain product companies by fusing smart contract capabilities and AI technologies. So with over 5 decades of experience in compliance and regulatory technology, Traceto.io seeks to revolutionize electronic KYC processes by incorporating elements of data security, efficiency, privacy, data aggregation, and decentralization through blockchain. So this eliminates data slowing.
So why now, right? Why, is Traceto coming up with a solution right now? It's because of a few things. One is that manual KYC processes are highly inefficient. Because I've heard this from a friend, he started an ICO. The amount of time it takes to physically and manually verify KYC documents, meaning your passports, to make sure that this guy is not a terrorist or this guy is not a politically sanctioned person, not a money launderer, takes a really long time. So it can take days and it can set hours of sleep away from the team. And secondly, it's that blockchain startups are ill-equipped to handle KYCs, because you got to understand that blockchain startup teams are mainly made up of developers, not so much from, they don't come from a regulatory or compliance background. So a lot of them are unsure of how to go about doing KYC, and beyond that, many of them don't have enough manpower. As I said earlier, the team spends days and nights just to physically verify the person's identity. And another thing is cost, right? Because, and let me give you an example. In real life, in the traditional world, the cost for doing KYC can go up to $100 million plus, right? As you can see from the example that I provided.
Yeah, so why now? It's basically because of the rise of cryptocurrencies, where there are more exchanges in ICOs in the near future, and you need a more efficient and quality KYC, AML, and CTF procedure.
CTF is counterterrorism finance, and AML is anti-money laundering, by the way.
Okay, thank you. And then you also have human error doing manual KYC, which you don't want because of the risk of some falling through the cracks and being approved wrongly.
And on this point, right, it's really dangerous if someone manages to fall through the cracks. Let's say you're a startup, blockchain startup doing an ICO, right? Let's say you're raising 6,000 Ethereums for your ICO, and you've kept each individual's Ethereum contribution to 1 Ethereum. So that means you have 6,000 whitelists and KYCs to approve. And out of the 6,000, can you be sure that all of them are not terrorists, not like politically sanctioned person, not money launderers? I mean, you can't be exactly sure. Even though you've spent a lot of due diligence checking the person, you can't be exactly sure, right? So there is a chance that a few people may fall through the cracks. Back to you.
Alright, and lastly, being leaks and hacks, which come from people with malicious intent. So your server database may be hacked, and these data are leaked and misused. So take the example of Sentinel Chain and B token KYC leak.
So take a look. Over $1 million worth of Ethereum were hacked during the B token ICO. Basically, what the scammer did was, he managed to get the email addresses of the whitelisted participants, and he sent them an email with the Ethereum address and said that, oh, you guys are eligible to contribute this amount of Ethereum, and so you can start contributing right now. And so for an ICO participant, the fact that you are whitelisted, it means that you have a chance to participate in the ICO, and you may reap financial returns. So the element of greed makes people want to contribute without doing due diligence. And so this scammer managed to scam over $1 million worth of Ethereum. And the source of the leak was because of improper database management. And another one is Sentinel Chain. So they stored their KYC documents in a central database, right? And that's a problem, because if a central database is vulnerable to a single point of failure, right? So if a hacker manages to hack inside, he has access to all the documents. And it appears that one of the investors' passports were leaked during the ICO process. So how does Traceto.io work, right? So KYC processes will now be done electronically instead of manually by a community of verifiers in a decentralized network instead of the corporate entity. Corporate entity in this case refers to the blockchain startup, instead of them manually reviewing them one by one. So instead of scanning through thousands of passports, thousands of driver's licenses, now it's all done electronically. So KYC documents will now be screened, verified, and simplified into a KYC score. So all your passport documents, your driver's license, your background will all be distilled into a KYC score instead. And unlike traditional KYC due diligence processes where individual documents have to be reviewed one by one, so it's none of that now. It's just the score itself. We'll talk about that later on.
So how does this work? So firstly, you're screened by a reputable centralized KYC screener such as Synthesis. And then you go on to verifiers from the community, which will assign a score based on the person's social profiles. And then your user requests his friends to verify his liveliness. And then there will be machine learning algorithms which will perform anomaly and fraud detection on a user's declared accounts. And then lastly, you have weighted combination of all these procedures that will produce your final score. And there you have it.
Your KYC score.
Yeah.
So after all this, corporate requesters, meaning of blockchain startups, just have to pay for the user's KYC request during an ICO whitelisting process or registration on a cryptocurrency exchange for access to the user's public key and KYC score. Right? So corporate requesters can now choose to filter out KYC applicants with a score that's less than their specified standard. Let's take, for example, 100, right? And let's say if Vanessa was assigned a score of 85, and I'm the blockchain startup, I want to be extra safe, meaning I only accept people with a score of 90 and above, right? So that means Vanessa will be filtered out. She can't participate in my ICO. She can't be whitelisted. And now, another instance, right? Vanessa has 92 now. So that means she's eligible to participate in the ICO, and I'll give her the whitelist. But if Vanessa finds out that, why is it that her KYC score is so low? She's not a terrorist, she's a legitimate person, she has not committed any fraud, any crime, or scammed anyone of Ethereum before. So
you can request. Yeah,
you can request for a reassessment, right? And the verification and reassignment of the score will be done by a group of community verifiers.
Right, so to simplify and ease the education process, these
by the way, before we go into this,
okay.
KYC education is insanely difficult, right? You're gonna flip through a lot of books because it's basically regulations, right? And it's like law. So traditionally, if you want to learn about KYC, you're gonna flip through thousands of pages just to learn what KYC is, and you may not understand fully. So back to you, the game.
So the verifiers will be trained by Traceto network via gamification of the KYC process. And this is the process that's equivalent to leveling up. So it's simply a game. So the better you perform, the higher your level, and that means you get more T2T tokens that you earn. And new verifiers start at a novice stage, and they work through progressively through trickier scenarios. So by completing all these stages, this ensures that you have enough compliance training to competently perform KYC related tasks. And the verifier's reputation can decrease if a decision made by the verifier was successfully appealed against. So this ensures that the verifiers verify the KYC submissions in an objective and accurate manner.
So to add on to this point, right? So previously I mentioned that if Vanessa realized that her why is the KYC score so low, right?
Yeah.
And she submits an appeal, right? And if it's true that the KYC, if it's true that the community verifier who was verifying her gave her an unfair assessment, the verifier's reputation will decrease. So that's a disincentive to make sure that the verifier, the community verifier, does his job properly in an objective manner. So this is a chart that this is a visual that you can take a look. We're going to skip this. If you want to take a look and you want to read, just pause the video, right? You can see there's a red arrow over there. That's a really important part that I want you to focus on. So your passport, your driver's license will all be stored in the secure encrypted vault, which can only be decrypted either by the users themselves or upon quorum. Quorum is basically votes by the verifiers and requesters. Right, so that means your data, your passport, your driver's license, they are not stored in a single database, right? So that means it's not vulnerable to a central point of failure. So incidents like what happened in B token and Sentinel chain won't happen in this case because it's secure. And the reason why this data has to be accessible is because if in the event where as I said earlier, are you still who you say you are? If, let's say, Vanessa is determined to not be a terrorist, but next year she becomes a terrorist, the regulators or the government bodies need to access this KYC document and to see if proper due diligence was done or not. T2T token utility.
So to become a verifier, there will be a minimum of T2T amount that needs to be at stake. So the verifier will be rewarded with the T2T tokens when they do the work, which are KYC assessments. So these tokens will be locked for a predefined amount of time before they can be transferable.
And to add on to this, the reason why it's locked for a predefined amount of time is because the Traceto team wants to ensure that these community verifiers are in for the long term.
Instead of just running away.
Instead of just running away with the T2T tokens after they've done some work, right? So it's an incentive or you could say a disincentive to make sure that they stay in the game, stay in the ecosystem for long. Back to you.
So the amount of T2T tokens given to a verifier for performing your KYC task depends on the amount of T2T the verifier staked. And this is the amount of time it has been held for and the amount of verifications. So corporate requesters can pay for users' KYC requests during an ICO or registration for an exchange account for access to the user's public key and KYC score. So every time T2T is spent to procure your KYC services, a small percentage is burned. So this can potentially bring about an appreciation in value for the remaining circulating tokens inside.
Yep, that's right. So ecosystem sustainability, what this slide means is, what's in for the verifiers, what's in for the corporate requesters, what's in for the regulators, what's the incentive, right? So for the verifiers, they earn T2T tokens as what Vanessa mentioned for the verifying what they do. And corporate requesters, meaning of blockchain startups, can also direct users to the Traceto's D app, meaning decentralized application, to complete their onboarding process to smoothen the KYC process. And this because the blockchain startup doesn't have the expertise or sufficient manpower to manually go through all the KYC documents. Paying T2T tokens to obtain a user's KYC score drastically simplifies the KYC process. And redirecting users to the Traceto's D app also increases the number of people using Traceto for KYC. So it's actually increasing, this strategy actually increases adoption. So for the regulators, they are assured that the KYC process is done so properly and KYC is constantly being carried out and monitored by the AI algorithms. As mentioned earlier by Vanessa, Traceto is powered by smart contracts and AI. So this is where AI comes in, right? Because AI is able to track whether this person's account is fraudulent or not, whether there are any malicious activities going on, right? And so given that 2018 will be the year of regulations for crypto, Traceto's expertise and solutions will be sorely needed, very, very much, for the regulators, for the corporate requesters. For the verifiers, what this means is, it's an extra, it's a part-time job for you that you can do at home after you've knocked off from work. If you have time to assess KYC scores. So too long, don't want to read. So if you didn't understand what we just said in the past 5-10 minutes, this slide is for you.
So this is a quick summary for you. So you can just follow the flow of the whole process. So firstly, we start by users looking to register for a whitelist or exchanges they just submit their KYC documents to Traceto. So there will be a group of community verifiers that help to assess and assign a KYC score to the user. So they are trained using a game and they level up as they verify more and more KYC scores. So once they are competent, they help to assess and assign KYC scores to the users. So corporate requesters filter out users with a KYC score that falls below their benchmark. And then it can be an example of 85, and if I'm at 84, then that's it, I don't get a whitelist. And users' KYC documents are secured in a secure encrypted vault that can only be unlocked by the user or with Core. So there are 3 major benefits that come from this whole Traceto.io, which is firstly, you have corporate requesters save time, effort, and resources. And then users' data is very secure, and you won't be vulnerable to hacks and leaks. And lastly, the community verifiers earn tokens by doing KYC assessments.
Basically moonlighting. So token distribution. So the team percentage allocation comprises of advisors too. So if you look at there, it's 25% for the team, but Traceto has came back to me and verified that 25% is not only for the team itself, the core team, but also for the advisors as well. So it comes with a 2-year lockup to incentivize the Traceto team to work hard to bring the project from ideation to fruition. And the hard cap that we think is reasonable considering that they're moving beyond crypto blockchain KYC services. So for team dynamics, it's anchored by a really strong team and advisors. So you have advisors like Loy Lu, the CEO of Kyber, and Simon Kim, the CEO of Hashed. We'll go into this in depth in the next slide. So for Chikit, Chikit is the CEO of Synopsys. Synopsys provides KYC AML software to more than 450 clients globally, and these include financial institutions, fund managers, remittance companies, fintech companies, lawyers, accountants, corporate secretaries, and crypto blockchain clients. It's a huge list, right?
Wow.
So if you look at the picture below, right, Synopsys has actually serviced quite a number of high-profile blockchain clients and exchanges as well. Clients like Bluezell, Digix, Exim Chain, Icon, the famous Icon, Kyber Network, and many more, right? You can take a look at the slide below, at the picture below, sorry. So Traceto's parent company has a track record, as I've said, in advising ICOs and exchanges on KYC procedures. And we are very confident that they deliver a far better product than existing KYC projects due to their experience, especially with crypto firms and blockchain startups. So Chikit is someone with a very good character. He's sincere, he's genuine, forthcoming, and open to being questioned. So on Telegram, I've been poking him with many tough questions, and he's been really honest with me. And this is someone who you can trust.
And the next person is Simon Kim. He is the CEO of Hash. And Hash is one of South Korea's largest crypto venture capital fund that focuses on impact investing. So they have invested in high-profile projects such as GBX, Bluezell, Constam that have performed really well.
So if you don't know what impact investing means I give you $5 million, but it's not just giving you money, right? I want to see your project grow. I want to help you with whatever resources I have. I want to help you see your business come to fruition. I want to see your business or your project be adopted on a massive scale. And I want to see your business add value to the entire blockchain ecosystem, right? So this is what impact investing is. It's not just giving money, right? It's investing with intent to help the entire ecosystem to become better. So for the competitors, I'm not going to go into too much detail. This visual is enough to explain why Traceto is better than the other competitors out in the market. So to make it simple for you, I've highlighted some of the important key points that you should take a look. And if you want to really study this in depth, pause this video and study it. Alright, roadmap. So downstream, Traceto will expand beyond AML anti-money laundering and counterterrorism KYC assessments to include product suitability, creditworthiness assessments. There will also be know your employee and know your supplier. So initially they are servicing crypto clients, right? But downstream there is a possibility that they may expand the service to go into real-world use cases. As mentioned, Traceto's roadmap, they're going to deliver their mainnet by Q1 2019 and their public system by Q4 2019. Public system, we didn't know what it means is, inclusive. So credit worthiness, product suitability, know your employer, know your supply, everything will be done by then. So lastly, evaluation.
The final evaluation. So for industry need, you have a full score of 10.10.
10.10 because it's such a pain, right, for blockchain startups to do manual KYCs, thousands of passports to look at.
So what makes them unique? Competition and differentiation, we give them an 8, and the product itself a 7.5. And then the team dynamics and advisors, we have very credible and experienced individuals, so we give them an 8.5. So token economy and metrics, we give them an 8. Token utility a 7.5, and experience in industry, as you have seen,
20 years.
Yes.
Tycoon has 20 years of experience in regulatory and compliance, by the way. And he is the CEO of Synopsys, so that's a huge assurance.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, we have a total score of 85, which just makes our benchmark of an A.
Yeah. So 85 is a percentage out of 100. And keep in mind that this is not a financial recommendation. We are not asking you to invest. After this video, please continue to do your own due diligence, read the white paper, continue questioning the team on Telegram. And at the end of the day, we're not financial advisors.
Yeah.
We have done our research, and this is what we think of the project. Whether or not you think that this is a project that's worthy of A, that's something for you to decide. It's not for us to decide. We're just making the process simpler for you and simplifying the entire white paper down and doing an extra due diligence to help you to understand this project better and to make better decisions when you invest. So thank you so much for watching CryptoSquare's ICO review of Traceto. So Vanessa and I will see you in our next video.
So if you would like what you see and you want to see more of us during reviews, hit the subscribe button below.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.